Yes, that's a monk meditating in boiling oil.
Why would you want to live like a Shoalin monk? The results, they speak for themselves. They're able to throw needles through glass, cut bricks in half with their bare hands, balance on as little as 2 fingers, and they have an insane ability to concentrate their energy on one area in their body. And they're able to do what most would call impossible.
So while most people say that they can't meditate, this monk has been able to concentrate his mind in a way that allows him to stay in a state of meditation while he sits in boiling oil above a fire.
Most people would say this is impossible, most people would say this is photoshopped, but no, Shoalin monks are just incredibly dedicated, disciplined and focused human beings. Maybe they're not human beings, who knows? Now imagine walking down the street and getting attacked and turning that attack immediately into a counter-attack. But let's reword it, because it's not really a counter-attack, it's more of a counter-defend. Because all martial arts is not about fighting, it's actually about defending oneself. And the Shoalin monks use multiple different martial arts, not just one like karate. So Master Shi He is probably one of the newest and most talked about Shoalin monks that's around nowadays. And his life lessons are that of something towards my core happiness. And when I do these things, I am just happier every day. So I'm not going to waste any more time and I'm going to get into lesson 1 from Master Shi Heng Yi. Power of practice and patience.
That when you more often practice them, more often do them, when it becomes your habit, automatically a different quality starts to emanate from you. That if you practice it long enough, you can recall it. You have received the skills. It was you who put the effort into doing the training, doing the research, doing the work. Ultimately, it was you.
Now Bruce Lee said it best. I don't fear the man that's done 10,000 kicks once, I fear the man that's done 1 kick 10,000 times. The art of repetition, the art of practice is what makes someone great, as it builds physical resilience. For example, anyone that goes to the gym regularly and is in impeccable shape understands this one thing. It's not about showing up 24 hours for one day, it's about showing up for 1 hour for 24 days in the month. The more consistent you are, the better results you get. It's about delaying the gratification because we don't need these things, we just want them. The world we live in today wants everything instantly. You may not even be aware that you're doing this. Amazon Prime is an example. Amazon delivers parcels the next day, and in some cases, even the same day. That instant gratification is insane. But if we can learn to live from a state of active patience, still moving forward, still doing the things we need to do, but understanding that it doesn't have to happen tomorrow, so that we are in no rush to the outcome. It's about the action, it's not about the result. And these are the principles that the Shaolin monks live by. They're not focused on the outcome, they're focused on the training and the daily things that they do. Therefore, if we can implement small daily stressors into our life, 2 examples are just ice baths and physical exercise. We're physically doing things that are uncomfortable, therefore our tolerance will begin to build. Not only having an ability to kick and punch incredibly fast, but even if you were to put them down to the ground, they would get up in less than a second, as if they control time. When I come to think about it, maybe they are related to Wong from Doctor Strange, and they are masters of the mystic arts. Maybe Wong is really a Shaolin master. But if you were to fight one of these Shaolin monks, what would you do to take them down? I'm curious, comment down below. So let's move on to lesson number 2, letting go of all suffering.
Some people will say there are things that can never be forgiven. Number 1, they will be forgiven. And number 2, this statement, it's only gonna make your life harder. Because the person who caused the trouble to you, maybe he's right now even lying somewhere in Hawaii, having a great time. He did that mistake that you suffered, but you are the one right now still sitting here not forgiving, suffering, while he is enjoying his party. Something's wrong about that view. If he made the mistake, he should be the one suffering, but not you. So what does it mean if you don't find a way to let it go? It remains with you and you suffer with it.
What others do is what they do. We can't control their actions. And although I would love for people to not treat us badly in life, it's not a realistic way of looking at life. It's a very naive way to look at life. Life isn't always easy, and we can't go through life expecting to never be offended and expecting to never come across difficulty. What they do is what they do. How we deal with it is what will happen to our life as a result. This is not your fault why you're suffering. But just because it's not your fault, it doesn't mean it's not your responsibility to change it. You can put all safety precautions in place by driving a car with your seatbelt, by not using your phone, by sticking to the speed limits, but that doesn't stop someone from drink driving, even though it's against the law, crashing into you. This is not your fault, but it's your responsibility to go through the rehab to be able to walk better again if there's a serious problem. So let's face it, I don't know many people that can take a cane to their neck, break the cane, and still be standing. So fighting one without a tool is hard enough. Imagine fighting one with a tool, from sticks to swords to shields. That's like putting a 12-year-old against Arnold Schwarzenegger in a bench press competition. It's just not fair. I know I don't want to come up against a Shoalin monk, and there's been many people that have said they can fight a Shoalin monk, yet no one's really pulled through with it. Stop being the 12-year-old naive kid thinking they can beat Arnold Schwarzenegger in a bench press competition. You just don't have a chance, unless you become a Shoalin monk. Now this one's for all the men out there. How incapable are you of talking, walking, and even thinking after being kicked in the nuts? I know from past experience, I got kicked in the nuts so hard I lifted off the ground and I had to have an operation. But either way, things in life happen to us for a reason. I had a hernia. They found me a hernia and they took it out during the operation. Perspective matters. And this is another wise lesson from a Shoalin monk. So how do you become like a modern day Shoalin monk and become unstoppable? There's 3 simple things that you can implement in your life today and become a modern day Shoalin monk by implementing these into your daily life. Removing as many external pleasures is going to benefit you in life regardless, and becoming more disciplined is going to serve you. First thing you can do, which Shoalin monks are dedicated to, is celibacy. No sex, no fap. Now, no fap is a big thing in the self-help community because you're releasing your seed, your life force effectively. You're then becoming more tolerant to the urges. The second thing is no consumption of meat, alcohol, and tobacco. And I'm also gonna add in processed foods. If you wanna really improve your life, stop eating processed foods. They're not good for you. Having a regular detox from these things is very necessary. And I notice when I start eating a lot of processed foods, I do detox myself. The third and final one is lose attachments to needing things. You don't need anything in life. The core pillars of happiness, and a book that I'm actually writing right now. If you're watching this video in the future, check the link below for the book, because it will be here. It's understanding that happiness doesn't need anything. We don't need a new car, we don't need a new house, we don't need a new partner. Because if we did, then our happiness is conditional based on external circumstances, not how we feel internally. And I want you to try this next time you feel the urge to buy something. Again, notice the word "the urge" is popping up. It's very necessary for us to understand this. When you feel the urge to buy something, put it on pause and say you're gonna buy it in 3 days. After the 3 days pass, go to buy it. See how much you really want it. You'll find out you don't really want it. And I had this conversation with a friend earlier. If you feel like you need to buy something, yet you can't truly afford it, like a new car and it's the same amount as your salary, don't buy it, honestly. I nearly got myself into a finance of a car and I'm so grateful they rejected me because I then quit the job 3 months later that was gonna be able to pay for that car and I would have been screwed. The real thing that happens is the anticipation of getting it, which makes our mind turn on, the dopamine hits and we're like, oh my God, I'm getting this. Because when you buy something from Amazon, you're not actually buying it. You're buying pixels on a screen that you're anticipating is gonna come. So start controlling, disciplining, and tolerating yourself by using the power of self-hypnosis. And if you want to understand it, click this video here.